What if Darth Vader or Anakin never caught on fire? What if he merely lost his limbs from Obi-Wan and was left there, failing to grab a grip up the soft soil of the high ground? I believe this would change many things. Now, while some may argue that things would end up the same due to his cybernetics, we have to really dive into Vader's life when he wore the suit. I won't go into details seeing as how many videos I've made discussing everything about his injuries and the suit's pros and cons, but I will say that his suit was unbearably painful. From the wrong alloys used in his prosthetics to the wires, needles, and tubes that were mounted on and inside of his torso to aid in his breathing and allow for his voice to be enhanced. This was all caused by the scorching flames he inhaled, which burnt him internally as well as externally. This would negate the need for a respirator, which beeped and flashed indefinitely.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet.
Meaning he could now get a proper night's sleep without being woken. He would still carry the pain and anger of Padme's death and the hatred for Obi-Wan, meaning his lust for power and the dark side would still be very strong, to a much more grand scale than Darth Maul even, since Vader had lost everything close to him. His connection to the Force would still be severed as it normally was, however now he had much more time. Let me explain. The Vader in the original timeline spent hours of his days trying to rehabilitate his lungs. They were what stopped him from growing stronger physically. It was clunky, it was vulnerable, and it drove him insane. Because of this, he would spend time in his meditation chamber to either think, remove his helmet, eat, or simply meditate on his hatred. He also spent a great deal of time in his back-to-tank as we saw in Rogue One, which was the only place he felt somewhat human. With all of this free time, he would be able to focus on becoming stronger or hunting down remaining Jedi, including Obi-Wan. His prosthetics would most likely be the same, uncomfortable, misaligned, and outdated alloy limbs that Palpatine ordered for him as a sort of punishment, but also keeping him a servant of the dark side with his long-lasting physical pains. The only issue with all of this is that he would not be nearly as intimidating towards the Imperial crew or Jedi. The elevated boots, black mask, and terrifying voice that was what made him larger than life to most would not be there anymore. He was like a walking god, and to defy him would mean to die. However, now he was just Anakin in darker clothing. He would continue to rule tyranny on the galaxy, perfect his technique uninhibited by wires, the lack of suit flexibility, or poor vision from his scorched eyes, bringing about an even stronger and more stable Vader. The galaxy would recognize him as Anakin Skywalker, the hero of the Clone Wars, as they would respect him even more for it. However, now, knowing that he had turned to the dark side, they would never understand truly why his sudden turn took place. However, some rumors were told in the shadows that the turn of the Jedi on the Chancellor was what made him switch sides. Since Palpatine knew Vader as Skywalker, Obi-Wan had Uncle Owen change Luke's last name to Lars, so as to keep the boy safe. Upon meeting Luke, Obi-Wan would continue to tell him that Vader murdered his father. Vader would meet with Obi-Wan again on the Death Star, resulting in Kenobi sacrificing himself as he did. This is where the timeline turns more drastically. So we can go two ways from here. We can either have Vader attack Palpatine now that he is a bit stronger and more wise and more confident in his abilities, winning and ruling the galaxy and still remaining in the dark side, or we can go with option B, which is what I'm going to choose for this timeline. Vader would now need a special suit. He would have his cybernetics and that was all. The suit he originally has is a superconductor for Force lightning, which means he is super sensitive to it, as we saw in Return of the Jedi. This was implanted by Palpatine in case Vader ever tried to overthrow him. Now that he knew this, he had been trying to overtake the Emperor for a long time. However, his limbs still caused him to not be as entirely powerful as before, severing his connection with the Force. Now, on a side note, for those who don't know, George Lucas did say in an interview that Anakin now had only 80% of the Emperor's potential after his battle with Obi-Wan on Mustafar. All the events would play out relatively the same, however the ending is what takes the biggest turn. The reason Vader died in the real timeline is mainly due to his suit's respirator having been heavily damaged as he carried Palpatine to his doom, absorbing the Force lightning which completely shot his respirator and attacked his skull as he died looking at Luke. In our timeline, this wouldn't happen. He would be a little beat up, however, nothing fatal. Luke would tell Vader to come back with him, and this is exactly what would happen. The redeemed Anakin would go to Endor with Luke to celebrate, where everyone would be shocked in fear at what they were seeing. However, once explained, they would learn to accept Anakin for who he was before Vader and after. The two would truly now rule the galaxy, however, for peace and justice, bringing rise to a new age of Jedi and reconnecting with the Force ghosts for guidance in the future.